What's going on, everybody? Eric Lindquist at Stochastic here on the Odd Trapper channel, coming to you with the Tuesday edition of MLB Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks. Hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell. Goes a long way for me on this video. Goes a long way for you. That way you become a prize whenever great content is going live here at our little neck of the YouTube woods. Matthew Boyd had 0 strikeouts today. Matthew Boyd had 0 strikeouts. He had a 5.5 line. Talked about the under all day last night. All day last night, that's redundant and not correct. But last night I talked about it. And then this morning I talked about it. And then today he goes 6 innings with 0 strikeouts. That was just a silly line, his pitch mix and everything else. We won't even get into that. We won't even get into that because the premium Discord got an even bigger smash. Took the under of strikeouts for Shane Baz and Brian Bayo in that Tampa Bay-Boston game, despite the wind blowing in. Thought it was inflated a little bit because of it. Saw some sharp money coming in on that over and pushed it to a place I didn't agree with. And both of them sweaty, extremely sweaty with their pitch counts, but they both cashed for us in the premium Discord. That felt good. 3 pitching K props on the day, 3 unders, 3 cashes. That feels really good. Man, we are rolling here on this program. Also, ended up cashing right off the beginning. Barger goes for 1.5 hits plus runs plus RBIs in the first inning. I mean, 4-0 rate off of that get-go. And then Cincy Cleveland ends up going over for us. I mean, this has just been a ridiculous run for me. I'm going to try to keep it going for you. I don't know if I can, but yes, Cincy Cleveland, thank you for that. We're still waiting. It's 2-0 Toronto. Jose Barrios. He'd be the one thing that I might get wrong here today. But anyway, Lindy 5, you guys can sign up for that down below. Obviously, still looking for a home run. Castellanos, Picaros, I can't even talk. Lindy 5, though, that is down below. You guys can sign up for that. But we got 15 MLB games. There is no time to dilly-dally. I got my friend, producer Jacob, here alongside me for today. Let's get ourselves going here. He's waving. He's saying hi, and I'm saying hi back. Let's get to the picks. Look, I'm going to start missing a lot of bets. That's just the nature of the way that this goes. But it's been nice to be on a couple-week run where I can't miss. He don't miss. But we go to Oriole Park, and this is one that I kind of had to override in my data. It was saying absolutely bet Spencer Torkelson. There's actually another one, and it is not the Low and Low parlay, even though that looks really cool on the screen. Torkelson, he is just destroying everybody. But even against lefties here, and even with the ballpark change, and even though it's Cade Povich, I don't think we're going to get the number that my data is saying we are against Mr. Povich. Plus, I think there's a chance there's an opener. So I'm not going to put a home run play out there without truly knowing exactly how Baltimore is going to handle this situation. And I do think, because again, it lines up to be Povich's start. But he's been so bad this entire season. 50% hard hit, 384 xWOBA just jumps out at your eyes that I can't quite possibly fire up Torkelson without a better idea of that bullpen situation. So just going to wait. We've got plenty of other plays that exist on the card. Jesus Sanchez, I haven't tapped into the I've bet like 1 2+ hit this season, but we've had multiple 2+ hits in the lean category. And I always think it's a fun talking point. One thing about this with Miami, Otto Lopez batted cleanup today. He's got a 278 expected batting average, and yet Kyle Stowers 278 expected batting average with him. Eric Wegeman 280 expected batting average. But the guy that leads off against righties and Mitch Keller on the mound here, the guy who potentially, Xavier Edwards, not as good of a expected batting average that of Mr. Jesus Sanchez. Wouldn't you know, a 265 expected batting average for him, 256 expected batting average for Xavier Edwards. There might be a time where we see a little flip-flop there between them at 1 and 2. I do understand why Edwards is the leadoff guy, doesn't really have the power to do anything else. He doesn't have power. But we got Jesus Sanchez 2+ hits potentially at over plus 200 in PNC Park. I need to consider that. I definitely need to consider that against Mitch Keller, comeback Keller. Low and Low said it looked pretty cool on the screen. Are we going to get 1.5 hits plus runs plus RBIs, or is it going to get inflated to like 2.5 numbers here against Lucas Giolito? Not sure where books end up posting it, but I want you thinking about this one. Now, this is not the kind of like smack that Torkelson apparently looks like in my data, even though, again, I'm overriding that. But I just have this feeling that with Low and Low at the 1 and 2 hole, respectively, here against righties, and how bad Lucas Giolito is, might have to parlay the two together, because if they're in like the -160, -165 range at this kind of a number, I think parlaying them together and just playing the upside game where Giolito sucks, yeah, that would be a great opportunity to potentially find that single game parlay that people are so desperately looking for. Keep that on your radar. Under 8.5 here for Milwaukee and Atlanta, another one that I overrode, but this one I'm not nearly as in love with, so I'm just kind of canceling it out. While I think Grant Holmes is all right. Quinn Priester, I certainly do not. You might get this opening deal where they end up bringing out DL Hall to start it off, but they also might not. It depends on how this opening lineup looks for the Braves, because they don't want to have Baldwin up top in the event that it's DL Hall. Maybe they do give Quinn Priester the start, and that becomes confirmed tomorrow morning. Next up in our lean little stroll that we're going on, we got Trevor Larnach going up against Trevor Male. He is definitely due for negative regression, but he is still one of those guys with this splitter and four-seamer combo that I kind of have enough respect for to just stay away from anything with a minus sign in front of it here for Larnach. And that's what I'm expecting in Minnesota for tomorrow. So we're going to be steering clear of the atmosphere there. Also, no clue who Minnesota ends up calling up here, considering lots of injuries now to their back half of the pitching staff. And I'm sure more to come, because that's just the way that Minnesota runs. But hey, we keep winning games somehow, some way. Over 8.5 here for Toronto, St. Louis. This one I could get behind, and my data doesn't even like it. Chris Bassett's been giving up a lot of lefty power, even though it doesn't show up on the sheet. 36.5% hard hit, 87.4 exit velocity, but the homers are starting to get tracked up. The weather's starting to get better around the country. And Miles Michaelis on the other side, 13.8% K rate, not really going to be getting any swing and miss. I don't know if I'm going to run this one back. Obviously, it's only 2-0 top of the 7th right there. It might be, again, the one thing that I end up getting wrong here on my entire sheet for the day. Sorry about that. Sorry. Actually, I'm not going to apologize. I feel good. We just need to pay more attention to that one and see how these bullpens line up, because it seems as though Barrios is just going the distance right now. What an idiot. Do not like him, Sam. I am. Do not like him with green eggs and ham. But don't like the White Sox either, that they're popping for me. But big plus money, Lance McCullers. He is a mixed bag. He is what, a box of chocolates. You just never know what you're going to get. I love you, Jenny. I'm not a smart man, but I know what baseball betting is. This is the one pitcher for the White Sox I could actually stomach backing if I absolutely had to. So I get why my data is okay with this. 359 expected slugging is great. 23% K rate. That's as high as you're going to find for, is that the best mark for anybody as a starting pitcher? Oh, it is for sure for the White Sox. That's kind of sad. It's actually really sad. Adrian Hauser's at 21.5% is number 2 on Fangraphs. Are you joking me? Oh, that's disturbing. Also disturbing that my data kind of likes under 11.5. Notice how there are a couple of overrides here. If you are really feeling gumptuous, this one is the second best out of everything, next to the Spencer Torkelson home run, and slammed it between, well, again, the Lau Low one is kind of interesting to me. Under 8.5, Atlanta, Milwaukee. I overrode that one. I do not feel good about that one. But under 11.5 here for San Francisco and Colorado. I think Palmquist has just enough ground ball equity to potentially make this work for us, but I just don't feel good about Coors Field, because he's a fly ball pitcher, 18.2 degree launch angle. But you look at some of these hitters outside of Matt Chapman, there are not a lot of righties that are going to loft the ball in the air. In fact, Heliot Ramos, 7 degree launch angle. Gerard Encarnacion, he's been showing up there, negative 3.9 degree launch angle. Wilmer Flores up there at 16. Patrick Bailey. You ever drink Bailey's from a shoe? Just pay attention to those things. Also, that's an old YouTube video. Next, let's round out the leans, shall we, and get ourselves to some actual plays. Taylor Ward home run. Oh, Taylor Ward. Kind of an interesting spot here. Mitch Spence, the projected starter. But I warn you, the Athletics have been doing so many crazy things and not announcing who's going to pitch when and how and if and when. And it's just really annoying. They're an annoying baseball team. I've talked about that. Why it is that we have to be paying attention to that, I don't know. But God forbid we end up getting anybody who can show up and do some smart things. And rounding it all out, Seattle and Arizona, Cal Raleigh and Rowdy Tellez. Pay attention to this. I'm looking at the double homer combination here in another spot. This might be a different one. Dinger Tuesday. TWO. Anyway, if you guys want to sign up for the premium Discord, it's been really, really good. I think you'll like it. Lindy 5 is your path, your friends. $5 for your first week. You go to the link below. You sign up. You can come kick it. A lot of new faces. I love seeing it. I know they've enjoyed the plays, that's for sure. But $5 for your first week. Try to make it as easy as possible. And if you want to stick around, it goes up to $20 and $50. But that is because I can show you the world. I can show you shining, shimmering, splendid. But in baseball betting terms. And you'll make money. We'll make money over any long-term sample size. We continue to. I'll continue to. Lindy $5 for your first week. Hop on in. Water's warm. To the picks, though, We go. Alrighty, friends. We begin with Cincy taking on Cleveland, and this one is fascinating. Andrew Abbott is generally a pitcher that I like. 27.6% K rate, 29.6% hard hit, 213 expected batting average. But there's this guy, David Fry, who's back in our lives. Plus, you neutralize Kyle Manzardo, Nolan Jones. Nolan Jones doesn't even end up in the lineup. And Lane Thomas, back in our lives, he exists. They do exist. The M&M commercial, it's not Christmas, Eric. What are you doing? But Andrew Abbott does give up fly ball contact. It looks like decent enough hitting weather up there in Cleveland. And Slade Chaconi's on the other side. I don't like Slade Chaconi. 47.5% hard hit. Didn't really work out for Arizona. Not really working out for Cleveland with a 4.13 xWOBA and nearly a 20% barrel percentage. Yeah, Cincinnati props. Gonna look mighty, mighty fine, but I kind of need them. And I already have a play from this one. Already have something that I bet in this one. It's the over of 8. 8 is a weird number here when I've got it closer to 9. That's why we're betting it. Hashtag math. Next. The Cubbies taking on Philly, and boy, oh boy, Matthew Boyd, 0 strikeouts. That couldn't have made me feel better about myself, although, you never know how things are going to pan out. Let's do something stupid, shall we? We got the Cubbies taking on Philly, and starting just to touch on it, Colin Ray is not very good. You don't have Bryce Harper in this lineup. I'm very curious to see how high up in the order Brandon Marsh goes, because you could end up as high as 7th. I know that's kind of a very specific call out and shout out, but I am paying very close attention to lineup order here because it will affect a lot of these props. But this is all about Mick Abel, who is somebody that I somehow backed last time and somehow got away with it. Now, that said, I'm happy to recognize when I make a mistake or when I win a bet that I shouldn't. And Mick Abel, again, we ended up losing the Philly money line there, but backed him in some pick'em stuff and tailed some other sharp people about that. But Mick Abel, friends, first rounder in 2020, 15th pick. He is from Jesuit High School, very, very prominent. But I'm just saying, 0.79 ERA, 26.8% K rate. If you just stopped there, you would think, Eric, you're crazy. And I do like the stuff. I will repeat, I like the stuff. But when he gets hit, the ball goes hard. 95 miles per hour average exit velocity on 30 batted balls in play is a gigantic number. It is a huge number, and it has negative regression written all over it. Plus, launch angle sweet spot. If you don't know what that is, head to Baseball Savant. It is an awesome stat, more predictive than just about anything else that you can pull up on a day in, day out basis over there. I like barrels per plate attempt as well for what it's worth, but launch angle sweet spot, 43.3% is just humming. 11.6 degree launch angle. And didn't I mention winds blowing straight out in Philly tomorrow, whereas it ended up kind of more across the field today. That was a bummer to witness. And it absolutely, I felt the wrath of that, considering I backed Castellanos and Pete Crow Armstrong, and they both hit some hard balls that went nowhere. I don't like saying hard balls. That sounds weird. My sweaty balls. Tucker home run and PCA home run. Parlay. What you know about parlay? I'm going to put them both together. I doubt we get enough a number that I'm going to love all that much together, but this is a bet against Mick Abel and where they end up dropping these opening numbers at it. So hopefully he can just keep giving up that hard contact, because both those guys, if they put it in play, it's going for a ride tomorrow. Man, that's a weird one. Again, that is 0.1 units for what it's worth. We are going to go very light on a parlay that should pay north of the 10-1 number. It should be closer to like 15-1, but I will pay attention to that tomorrow. If you have any questions, hit me up at Eric Lindquist. Happy to let you know, but PCA, hey, Kyle Tucker, it's pretty self-explanatory. This one is 2, and it's weird. Why do the books keep dropping 6.5 for strikeout props? And I know that it's the Mets, and I know that they don't strike out a ton against lefties and Mark Vientos on the IL, but that's the whole point, is that you're going to get some unknown piece in the lineup and some lefty in the lineup on some of those days. And that is not going to bode well against Mackenzie Gore and his pitch mix. Now, that being said, Francisco Alvarez is my preferred catcher over Luis Torrens. I would love to see him in the lineup. He should be, considering Luis Torrens, he is, shouldn't be scheduled for this catching appearance with a day off in between. Ronnie Mauricio is still not impressing me all that much, and everybody wanted to point out, oh, Eric, look at what he did. Look what he did. He's like your touted prospect, and oh, look what he did. Yeah, he had a game in Coors Field and got walked twice and got 2 hits and had 2 hits previous to it. Still, one homer so far. Yeah, whatever. Coors Field is going to make a lot of people look good. Just going to say that right now. But he strikes out a ton. That's what I'm the most impressed by. And I'm hoping he does it twice tomorrow because Mackenzie Gore with the 35.5% K rate is coming to town, facing Griffin Canning. Griffin Canning, not that good. Going to pay attention to some Washington props besides Gore. But opening numbers have this at 6.5 minus 110, the same way that I felt where it was like a broken number on Mr. Matthew Boyd yesterday. I think this should be 7.5. I know it doesn't seem as good when you compare it to like, oh, you had the under and it was a 5.5 difference. Well, yeah, there's a range of outcomes that we have to play every single time. And 7.5, I think, should be juiced towards the over on 7.5. Give me Mackenzie Gore. We've been riding him a lot over the last month. Hopefully he keeps it going. And hopefully Portfolio EV keeps it going in the MLB streets. Promo code Lindy1 down below. The first link you might see up top there in the video description box. That'll get you 2 weeks of the best market-based tool in the entire industry. Check it out, friends. I think you'll love it. I think you'll absolutely love it. Plus, you are able to utilize it for all of your live odds needs. That we're talking every single book, all of the markets for everything. And I know that there's a lot of places, but it is so conveniently done here. Plus, you can set up alerts. You can set up alerts whenever a positive EV play or historical ROI play that you really, really like is going to show up at the top. It'll send directly to your phone from the Odd Shopper app. That is cool stuff, friends. We got version 3 of the Portfolio Lab coming your way. We got so much good stuff with Portfolio EV right now. Lindy 1, check it out. WNBA props 2. The water's warm. Alrighty, y'all. Let's get back to the MLB picks. 2 more to go. Hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell as we break down Kansas City and Kauffman Stadium. Wind blowing out, starting to get humid in Kansas City. It's beginning to look a lot like summer. It's not Christmas still, Eric, you absolute dolt. Anyway, they're huge favorites. The Yankees are, and they end up losing as huge favorites to Boston. It's a little upset that I didn't end up taking it, but I did the scientific Aaron Judge over 1.5 total bases. He ends up going for like 8 or 9 of those suckers. Hits 2 home runs. It was absurd Sunday Night Baseball. Oh yeah, in a losing effort. As minus 220 favorites, I think, with Max Fried. But anyway, not Max Fried on the mound this time around. Who is it? Turn around. Oh, yeah, it's Max Fried. That I had it backwards. Just wrote on the other day. And now it's Max Fried. That's what I was getting at. But another southpaw has kind of been impressive. Noah Cameron, 294 xWOBA, 373 expected slugging. And yet, every single time I run the numbers with this weather environment, I get myself on the over. Like, way on the over. 9.5, 10 territory. I get Max Fried has been awesome this season, 302 xWOB. And I get Noah Cameron has been exceptional with a 4.4% barrel percentage and a really nice start. But there's a reason this is 8.5. And I like the over. So going over. It's math, really. And xWOBA and a lot of other beautiful things that I concoct and put into the cauldron and whatever. The cauldron's on fire, so we should just continue to ride it. Last play, let's get to something fun too. We don't even know who's on the mound for the Dodgers here, but I can tell you an answer. It probably won't be good. So understand, you want that live action. That's most every books these days where they want live action regardless of where the line moves because they're going to be able to account for it and people aren't really going to think about this night before. But they should, because I think it's Bobby Miller who gets the start. And you know what Bobby Miller does? He just gets bludgeoned, man. I don't see how you could make this minus 108 both sides of it with Bobby Miller versus Dylan Cease. And I assume it's Bobby Miller. I apologize if it doesn't end up being Bobby Miller, but I think that's what we get here on this spot. Do you know how brutal it has been for Bobby Miller? Your answer, really brutal. 12.60 ERA, just in 5 innings pitched, 2.60 whip, but he's got a good pitch mix. He's only 26 years of age, but a 5.87 ERA in Oklahoma City? What? Oh my. Dodgers have major issues with this 4th-5th starter, and yet I'm able to get Dylan Cease, who I trust a lot, to be able to pitch at least a decent outing against a dangerous Dodgers team. I will take that every single time. I know bullpens wouldn't be all that enticing, but if Bobby Miller shows up in this one, I feel like I've done my job correctly. San Diego money line, minus 108 both sides on FanDuel, minus 110 at every other book. Thank you, FanDuel, for having inside of dime lines. We really appreciate you for such things. I don't think you understand how important that is long-term for us, but San Diego money line, I like it. Let's get the heck up out of here. And that does it for another edition of MLB Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks. Head to the comment section below. Let me know your favorite plays that exist on the board for this lovely slate we have before us. Thank you, producer Jacob. Another one in the books here for today. Looking forward to tomorrow. Hopefully we can keep things rocking here on Tuesday, and then Wednesday we'll have baseball all day. I absolutely love those. Makes work fly by very quickly. I promise, Tom, I'm listening in meetings. Until next time, friends, thank you, producer Jacob. I'm Eric Lindquist. Best of luck in the MLB streets on Tuesday. MLB streets on Tuesday. Good job, Eric. Way to go. Way to finish your video.